Walked into the living room and I saw all the things that the girls had laid out. I was overwhelmed. There were so many cute knickknacks and decorations. You guys. My favorite were all the photos that they had framed of family and friends and special times. And so it was really special. All the pictures of family, and I know that we're not gonna declose, and so.
Hey guys, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. This is a Duggar update. I was actually thinking about this, and I was thinking about it a lot because I was actually talking to someone. That's right, I was talking to a source. And we were talking about how the Duggars have been doing a lot of traveling lately. And I was like, you know, I think it's really odd that Jim Bob has been on the road so much with the kids. He was on the road with all of the kids on this West road trip, and it just seemed like weird timing. Like, why wouldn't they stay in Arkansas during the hearing? Why is he suddenly like all out of Arkansas? Why is he avoiding being in Arkansas? That was like the sense I had, because taking a trip with your family in like the middle of September after school has started, and granted they homeschool, but they had all summer. They could have taken this trip, and they did it during a very specific window. And it happened to be a window when Josh Duggar had a hearing. And even though that hearing was a week moved up, they were still on the road when this would have happened. So it was originally scheduled for October 4th, and they were still traveling at that point. So why? Why don't they want to be there? My source says it seems like they don't want to be anywhere near Northwest Arkansas around the time of the trial and around the time of everything. And I asked why, and they said, they expect there's going to be even more media presence when the actual trial happens in November. And they expect, the source, that you might not even see the Duggars at the trial. Jim Bob may not want any affiliation to this based on how things have been going in court, being that he lost all of his requests for the case to be dropped or dismissed or for evidence to be removed. None of that went anywhere. It's not going in his favor, and now he's trying to piece together some sort of alibi. So instead of trying to be there, they are like legitimately on the road. One thing I know is that the Duggars never miss a conference for the family of the ATI. If you follow the Duggars, you know that the Duggars are heavily invested in a cult called the Institute in Basic Life Principles, and their children went through what's called the ATI, which is Advanced Training Institute, which is the homeschooling curriculum and program for children. Every single year, they talk about going to the family conference, which is held in Big Sandy, Texas, and is at one of the bases of the IBLP. It's also where the Alert Academy is, where they send their boys to boot camp after they've done things that are like, looking at stuff online or whatever. And it's like a military boot camp, but it's for kids in the fundamentalist world, and they actually don't go to the military. So they go to this conference every single year. So the conference started last week. It started on Thursday. And I got this message from someone, and they were like, oh, my friend saw that Jim, Bob, and Michelle were talking at this event in Northwest Arkansas. And initially I was like, this sounds plausible. But then I realized, no, this doesn't even coincide with what's going on. So there was a marriage conference, which was happening at Fort Rock Family Camp, which is the camp that's owned by Austin Forsyth's family. Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar have spoken at this camp multiple times. This is not something that would be outside of the realm of possibilities. So I did some digging, and I was like, okay, I'm going to verify if this is true. Well, I went looking, and I found that, nope, the Duggars are actually in Texas. And I was assuming this had to be true because I found photographs of Johanna and Jennifer with Hillary Spivey playing cards with the kids. And then as I was looking through the Alert Academy or the family conference and the family camp photographs, I found photographs of Josie. So Josie, Johanna, and Jennifer are all there. Hillary Spivey also shared some more photos, and in those photos, Jason is there along with James, and then there was a photograph of Justin. So that means you've got James, Jason, Justin, he already lives there, but then you also have Jennifer, Josie, and Johanna. The Duggars are there, they're just not in photos, and they're there. They're not promoting it, and they're also not speaking. They're not being promoted to speak, which I was shocked about. They always speak at this event, and I have not seen their name mentioned once. The Duggars would not be at this place unless they were with the kids. And this is something that the Duggars are so invested and heavily a part of every single year. Michelle Duggar always promotes this program. Jed and Katie Duggar are a part of it. Like Katie does Commit Conference. She's like a presenter there. And Jed also is a volunteer there. And then right before the family conference was going on, they were doing these weekly promotions, and it would be like 1 week until 5 weeks until whatever, how many days out. On 12 weeks out, John and Abby Duggar actually posted a photo with their daughter, Gracie. So I know that the Duggars are there. I just don't know how many of them and which ones are, but I know that a few of them aren't. So on July 16th, Gracie, Abby, and John said, "We always love fellowshipping with our friends at family camp. We look forward to another amazing week with just around the corner. John, Abby, and Gracie Duggar. We're only 12 weeks from family camp, folks. Let the countdown begin." So John and Abby were planning on going 12 weeks ago. The Duggars had been on the road, and I'm guessing likely instead of going back to Arkansas, just bebopped it down to Texas. And they, last year, if you remember, while they were at the family camp, were with Claire and Justin and the Spiveys, because this was right before we had just found out, or right after we had just found out that Claire and Justin were actually courting. So they were hanging out with the Spiveys, and they generally hang out with the Spiveys at these events. And then as I looked through photographs from today, there's a photograph of Josie on the Alert Family Camp page. So the Duggars are down in Texas, and they're hanging out at family camp, which is an event where the fundamentalists all get together and they learn about all the resources and they talk about all the fundamentalist things in the IBLP. They do this camp once a year, and then they have conferences throughout the year, and it's just their indoctrination, their continued indoctrination. They sell more indoctrination while they're there. They talk about the feelings of the world and women having to do this and that and men having to do this and that and all biblical womanhood and all the trappings of this horrible cult. So the Duggars are down in Texas, meaning they have been on the road since, I don't even know how long. They started updating that they were on the road on September 21st. So they took off around that time, and they haven't been home since. And they haven't posted anything on their social media since September 29th. So September 29th, they were still in Yellowstone, which is hours and hours away from Arkansas. And then by October 8th, they are down in Texas. They might have gone home for a few days, but why would you stop your trip, go home for a couple days, and then just go down to the family conference when you could just go on your trip, take an extended road trip, and then drive down into Texas, do your family conference, and then go home? That seems like the more probable option, which means that it seems like they were deliberately trying to be away from home for around 3 to 4 weeks. My source says that it reminds them of when everything happened with Josh Duggar's, when the scandal broke. They all piled into their bus, and they took off, and they stayed at somebody else's house for weeks. They didn't want to be anywhere near Arkansas. So it seems like the Duggars are trying to stay away from Northwest Arkansas. So my question is now that they're in Texas and they're at the cult event, that only happened, I think it's over within like the next day or two. After that, they go home. What are they going to do in November? I was expecting, and I thought Jim Bob Duggar would be at Josh Duggar's trial. I thought for sure he would be at the hearing. I thought without a doubt he would be there because he is so obviously trying to get Josh out of this by using all of his money on these motions and supporting the defense, helping out with the kids. So why wouldn't he be at the hearing? Well, publicly, they don't like the scandal aspect of it. And I'm guessing now, as things are getting worse in terms of the public relation and the practicality of Josh not getting out of this, I don't know. I can't see Jim Bob at the trial. I am still at 50-50 on whether or not this will go to trial. We have 6 more days until Josh has to make a decision on whether or not he's going to take a plea deal. So he has until next Monday to decide if he's going to take a plea. And we don't know what he's going to do. But right now his parents have made their decision, and their decision is to hit the road, get the kids out of Arkansas, get everyone away from what's happening in Arkansas, and maybe Josh will have some time to figure out what he's going to do next, because he's 33 years old, you guys. Like, daddy can't always bail you out of everything. Now, if Josh doesn't take the plea deal, you guys, he's going to get the book thrown at him. And if I were Josh, I would take the deal, because 10 years in prison is a lot less than 25 years. And I wouldn't want to go away for 25 years if I had kids. But I'm not Josh. I also didn't commit these crimes. I'm not a narcissist. I'm not a sociopath. And I'm not someone that doesn't take accountability. And Josh doesn't like to take responsibility for anything. And pleading guilty means he's taking responsibility. So that's my opinion. But what do you think about the Duggars intentionally trying to be away? Now, these are just my opinions, but it is interesting, right? Tell me in the comments below. Bye, guys.